Hello and welcome to TalentSprint for a live session on current affairs for the period between the 5th of June and the 22nd of June 2017. This video presentation is likely to be a slightly longer one because we are covering about 18 days. As always, this presentation is divided into 6 parts. First, we start with the national news, then the news on the international segment, followed by the news on banking, economy and finance, then science and technology, other current affairs and the sports news. We begin with the national news first. In the first news is that the women will be allowed in combat role in the army. Army Chief General Bipin Rawat has said that the process to allow women in combat role, currently an exclusive domain of men, is moving fast. He said initially, women will be recruited for positions in military police. Very few countries, including Germany, Australia, Canada, the US, Britain, Denmark, Finland, France, Norway and Sweden and Israel have allowed women in combat roles so far. It's good that India is joining this elite list. In a first move of its kind, Habibganj railway station is set to become India's first private railway station. Habibganj railway station in the suburbs of Bhopal will become the country's first railway station to be redeveloped in a public-private partnership mode. The idea is to develop Habibganj railway station as a world-class transit hub equipped with all amenities. The operation and maintenance of the railway station has been given to the Bhopal-based Bansal Group for a period of 8 years. However, it is to be noted that all matters concerning the railway, such as the arrival and departure of trains, signalling equipments, etc., will continue to be handled by the railways only and will not be privatized. India's first rural LED street lighting project has begun to get off to a smooth start. The government will retrofit 10 lakh conventional street lights with LED lights in Gram Panchayats of 7 districts in Andhra Pradesh. This project will be the first rural LED street lighting project under the Government of India's Street Lighting National Project or SLNP. In the first phase of the project, the districts of Guntur, Prakasham, Nellore, Kurnool, Kadapa, Anantapur and Chittor will be covered. Moving on, Kerala implements the Green Protocol to make weddings more nature-friendly. The Kerala state government has come out with a Green Protocol to make the weddings in the state more nature-friendly. As per the protocol, plastic and non-biodegradable articles, including disposable glasses and plates and thermocol decorations, will not be permitted to be used in the wedding ceremonies. Instead of these non-biodegradable articles, the marriage parties would be persuaded to use tumblers, plates and other utensils made of glass and environment-friendly materials. India is to provide a $318 million credit to Sri Lanka. India has signed an agreement to provide fresh assistance of $318 million credit line to Sri Lanka for the development of the railway sector in the country. India has already provided 4 lines of credit for the development of railway sector in Sri Lanka through its Exim Bank, amounting to approximately $966 million. These credit facilities have been utilized to improve the southern and northern railway lines and for the procurement of rolling stocks for the Sri Lankan railways. In the next news item of the national news segment is a good news from the Indian Meteorological Department, which has upgraded its earlier normal monsoon forecast. The Indian Meteorological Department, or the IMD, has upgraded its earlier normal monsoon forecast from 96% to 98% of the long period average. Quantitatively, the monsoon rainfall from June to September is likely to be 98% plus or minus 4%. Distribution of the rainfall would be good across the country. India has been ranked amongst the top FDI destinations. India continues to be a favorite foreign direct investment destination through tax-related concerns, though tax-related concerns remain a deterrent for some foreign investors. Foreign direct investment inflows to developing Asia shrank by 15% to $443 billion in 2016, the first decline since 2012. An improved economic outlook in major economies such as Asian, China and India is likely to boost the investors' confidence, propping up the region's FDI's prospects for 2017. The Law Ministry has cleared the Kambala Bill. The Union Ministry of Law and Justice has cleared the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Karnataka Amendment Bill 2017 and thus legalizing Kambala. In November 2016, the Karnataka High Court had banned Kambala along with the bull cart rate in the state. This is as an after effect of the ruling in favor of the Jallikattu in the state of Tamil Nadu. The oil marketing companies are to make daily revision in retail selling prices of petrol and diesel. Oil marketing companies will make daily revision in selling prices of petrol and diesel from the 16th of June across the country. This has already been implemented all over the country. The decision will make the retail prices more reflective of the current market conditions, minimizing the volatility in the retail price of petrol and diesel. It will also enhance the transparency in the system, besides enabling smoother flow of products from refinery to retail outlets. Under the GST, it is estimated that the food grains, milk and vegetables will be cheaper. Items like food grains, flour, milk, vegetables and fruits will get cheaper by 4 to 5% after the rollout of the goods and services tax from the 1st of July 2017. Cereals, pulses, atta, maida and besan will be cheaper as they will attract 0% rate. Milk, vegetables and fruits, common salt, puffed rice, salt, organic manure, animal feed, firewood, raw silk, wool, jute and hand-operated agricultural equipment too will be zero rated under the new indirect tax regime. The Supreme Court has ruled that the linking of Aadhaar with the PAN is mandatory. The Supreme Court has upheld the government's decision and ruled that it would be mandatory for all Aadhaar holders to link it with the permanent account number or PAN for filing of income tax returns. But the Apex Court refused to make it compulsory for people who do not possess an Aadhaar card or have not yet applied for one. The court stayed the retrospective invalidation of PAN for non-compliance till a constitutional bench decides on the privacy question pending before it. Moving on in the next news item, India becomes a full member of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. India and Pakistan have become full members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization or the SCO, the first ever expansion of the security grouping. India's membership was strongly pushed by Russia, while Pakistan's entry into the grouping was backed by China. India gives utmost priority to increase connectivity amongst SCO countries, and India would continue to work with them. Following the footsteps of Uttar Pradesh, the Maharashtra government has also announced the loan waiver for farmers. After 11 days of farmers' protests against the state, Maharashtra government has announced loan waiver for farmers. Following the announcement, the farmer leaders in the state have decided to call off the protest. Maharashtra has followed UP in waiving off the farmer loans. Jan Aushadhi outlets are to be opened at railway stations and hospitals across the country. Jan Aushadhi outlets will be opened at railway stations and hospitals across the country to make medicines available to the common man at affordable rates. An in-principle decision has been taken in this regard. The decision is aimed at providing generic drugs at cheaper prices to the public, including railwaymen. The further news item on the national segment is that the centre has approved the interest subsidy of 2% on farm loans. The government has approved 2% interest subsidy on farm loans and additional 3% for timely repayments. The approval was given for short-term crop loans to farmers for the current fiscal year. The scheme will apply to short-term crop loans up to 3 lakh rupees and the rate will be 4%. The next news item, the Petroleum Dealers Association withdraws strike against daily revision of oil prices. The Petroleum Dealers Association has called off the proposed strike against the daily revision of oil prices or petrol and diesel prices with effect from the 16th of June 2017. This comes after the government agreeing to change the timing of the price revision to 6 a.m. instead of every midnight. Private pump owners make up 3/4 of the nation's 54,000 retail outlets of the public sector firms. Foreign tourist arrivals have registered a growth of around 19.5% in May 2017. Foreign tourist arrivals into India have registered a growth of around 19.5% in May this year over the same period last year. In a release, the Tourism Ministry said 6,36,000 foreign tourists arrived during the period. Bangladesh accounts for the highest share of tourist arrivals, followed by the United States and the UK. India tops global remittance receiving list. India has claimed the top spot amongst the remittance receiving nations, surpassing China. The United Nations in its report said that Indians working across the globe sent home $62.7 billion during last year. Kerala tops the list of Indian states and remittances received from abroad. The government has made the Aadhaar card mandatory. Government has made Aadhaar card mandatory for opening of bank accounts and financial transactions of 50,000 rupees or more. All existing bank account holders have also been asked to submit Aadhaar to the banks by the 31st of December this year. The accounts which are not to be seeded with Aadhaar number by the due date will become invalid. The External Affairs Minister inaugurates the KIP, or the No India program for young overseas Indians. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj has inaugurated the No India program for NRI and person of Indian origin PIO youth with a view to provide them with an exposure to the country of their origin so that they can understand India better and more closely. External Affairs Minister also launched a portal for the No India program. In the next item of the national news segment, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has inaugurated the Cochin Metro project. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has inaugurated Cochin Metro, which will be the first metro line in Kerala. The construction of the Cochin Metro, which was entrusted to the Delhi Metro Rail Corporation or the DMRC, has been completed in a record 4-year period. The metro has so far employed 23 transgenders in various departments. Further, a majority of the staff in Cochin Metro will be women. Nearly 1,000 women have been selected to work in Cochin Metro. The trains will also be driven mainly by women drivers. Yet another important feature of the Cochin Metro is that the metro derives its power entirely from the solar power, first of its kind in the country. The government has announced the opening of 149 more Passport Office Seva Kendras. The government has announced the opening of 149 more Post Office Passport Seva Kendras in the second phase. With this addition, the total number of such Kendras will be 235 in the country. The centre is also planning to open one passport centre within a radius of 50 kilometres. Moving on, the GST Council has given a relaxation of 2 months for filing tax returns. The GST Council has relaxed the return filing rules for businesses for the first 2 months of the rollout of the new indirect tax regime. To obviate any lack of preparedness, a slight relaxation of time for 2 months has been given, and from September, strict adherence to time will go on. Those who are not ready after relaxation will have more than 2 to 2.5 months to get ready. This was announced by the Finance Minister, Mr. Arun Jaitley, at the last meeting of the GST Council held recently. In a landmark move, Mr. Ramnath Kovind has been chosen as the presidential candidate by the Bharatiya Janata Party. The Governor of Bihar, Mr. Ramnath Kovind, has been chosen by the National Democratic Alliance as his presidential candidate. The 71-year-old lawyer-turned-politician Ramnath Kovind is a commerce graduate and LLB from the Kanpur University in Uttar Pradesh. Mr. Kovind practiced law in the Delhi High Court and Supreme Court for 16 years. He was also the central government's standing counsel in the Supreme Court from 1980 to 1993. The ISRO's Mars Orbiter mission has completed 1,000 days in orbit of the Earth. ISRO's Mars Orbiter mission, MOM, completes 1,000 Earth days in orbit. The orbiter has outlived its lifespan, which is more than 5 times the number of days the orbiter was designated to last in orbit. The MOM has at present completed 388 orbits of Mars and has sent 715 images back to Earth. Following the footsteps of Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, the Punjab government has also announced crop wave loan to small and marginal farmers. Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh announced to waive off the crop loans of small and marginal farmers as per his poll promise. Chief Minister said that his government has additionally decided to take over the outstanding crop loan from institutional sources of all families of farmers who committed suicides in the state. The waiver of up to 2 lakh rupees will cost the Punjab government more than 22,000 crores. Bengaluru gas distribution project has been inaugurated for the first time in the country. The Gas Transmission Major Gas Authority of India Limited, or GAIL, launched the 6,283 crore Bengaluru City Gas Distribution, or CGD, project on the 18th of June 2017. The project is expected to cover 4,395 square kilometers in urban and rural Bengaluru, broadly covering 8 sectors. The project will provide economical, environmental friendly, uninterrupted, safe and convenient energy to 106.12 lakh residents of Bengaluru by supplying piped natural gas to households, industries, and commercial units. This is the first of its kind in the country, and we can only hope that many other cities in the country will take up this project as well. On the World Yoga Day, 21st of June 2017, the announcement was made that Ramamani Iyengar Memorial Yoga Institute has been selected for the PM's Yoga Award. Ramamani Iyengar Memorial Yoga Institute, Pune, has been selected as the first recipient of the Prime Minister's Award for outstanding contribution to promotion and development of yoga. The memorial has worked to spread yoga internationally over a period of 4 decades. There are thousands of Iyengar yoga teachers popularizing and propagating yoga across the world. The next item of the news on the national segment for this period between the 5th of June and the 22nd of June 2017 is that the GST is to be launched at midnight on the 30th of June. Goods and services tax will be officially launched on midnight of the 30th of June 2017. The launch function will be held exactly at midnight in the Central Hall of Parliament and is expected to be attended by the President, the Prime Minister, the Vice President, Chief Ministers of various states and opposition leaders as well. Finally, after evading arrest for many days, retired Justice Karnan has been arrested in Coimbatore. Former Calcutta High Court Judge C.S. Karnan was arrested in Coimbatore by the Calcutta police team on the 20th of June 2017. Supreme Court sentenced Justice Karnan to 6 months in jail for contempt of the court on 9th of May when he was a serving judge of the Kolkata High Court. Karnan retired from service on the 12th of June. He became the first High Court judge to have retired as a fugitive. Mumbai's Taj Mahal Palace Hotel has acquired the image trademark. Mumbai's iconic Taj Mahal Palace Hotel has acquired an image trademark under the Trademark Act of 1999, making it the first building in the country to acquire intellectual property rights protection for its architectural design. Henceforth, the image of Taj Mahal Palace Hotel dome and exterior can be used only with the consent of the Taj Hotels, Palaces, Resorts and Safaris. The hotel, which was opened on the 16th of December 1903, has a distinctive red-tiled Florentine Gothic dome and sits 240 feet above the street level. June 21st was celebrated as the International Yoga Day. June 21st is annually celebrated as the International Yoga Day since the year 2015. This year, the third International Yoga Day is being observed. The purpose of the Yoga Day is to promote yoga and make it as a part of the people's daily routine. Karnataka government has waived off the short-term farm loans of up to Rs 50,000. The Karnataka government has waived off short-term farm loans of up to Rs 50,000 per farmer. The move will help more than 22 lakh farmers who have obtained loans from cooperative banks in the state, amounting to over 8,000 crore rupees. Karnataka government follows the prevailing popular mood in the country to waive off crop loans. That's all we have for you in the national news segment. We now move on to the next segment of our current affairs for the period between the 5th of June and the 22nd of June, and this is on the international news segment. The first news of the international news segment is that China has launched its first X-ray space telescope. China has launched the first X-ray space telescope to study black holes, pulsars and gamma ray bursts. The telescope, weighing 2.5 tons, was sent to the space using China's Long March 4B rocket. The satellite was launched from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center. The architect of Germany's reunification, Helmut Kohl, has passed away. Former German Chancellor Helmut Kohl died at his house in Ludwigshafen in the western state of Germany. He was aged 87. Mr. Kohl, who led the center-right Christian Democrats, was the longest-serving German Chancellor of the 20th century. As Germany's leader for 16 years, Kohl is remembered for reuniting the country and for making a huge political and economic contribution to Europe's integration. Australia's Vivid Sydney has entered the Guinness Book of World Records. The world's largest festival of light, music and ideas, Vivid Sydney, has entered the Guinness Book of World Records. The Guinness Book of World Records have given the Vivid Sydney installation Dreamscape the title for the longest interactive lighting display. Vivid Sydney installation Dreamscape has been made up of 1,24,128 lights and links the entire circular quay precinct beginning from the Sydney Opera House to the Sydney Harbour Bridge into one cohesive canvas of light. The US and Australian officials warn of returning foreign fighters. Top United States and Australian officials have warned that the foreign fighters may return to Southeast Asia from the Middle East and take up arms in their own countries. IS fighters may come back with battlefield skills, and we need to be very aware of that, said the top US and Australian officials. The warning follows this weekend's terror attacks in London, which were claimed by the Islamic State group. The next item on the international news segment is that Nepal has signed an agreement for mega hydro projects. Nepal has struck a deal with China's Gesuba Group Corporation, or the CGGC, for developing a 1,200 megawatt Budyanki hydroelectric project. This will be the biggest hydroelectric project in Nepal, having the potential to resolve its perennial power crisis. The MOU was signed in the presence of the outgoing Prime Minister of Nepal, Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachanda, and Chinese Ambassador to Nepal, Yu Kong. In a very major development which could have international ramifications across the globe, the Gulf countries have isolated Qatar. Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Egypt, Yemen, Libya, and UAE have suspended their diplomatic ties with Qatar. All the 6 countries have announced that they would withdraw their diplomatic staff from Qatar and eject Qataris diplomats from their territories. They have also planned to cut air and sea traffic. It may be noted that Qatar is the world's largest producer of liquefied natural petroleum gas, and any isolation of Qatar from the rest of the world will have far wide-reaching international ramifications. Although quite some time has elapsed since this isolation was announced, there seems to be no attempt, or there seems to be no end to solve. There seems to be no end to the solving of the problem in sight, and we have a situation where thousands of Indians are stranded in Qatar, unable to receive wages and unable to return home. We can only hope that this embargo will be cleared very soon and the situation in the Gulf will return to normal. Sher Bahadur Deba has been elected as the 40th Prime Minister of Nepal. Sher Bahadur Deba, aged 70 years, has been elected as the Nepal's Prime Minister for the 4th time. He was the only candidate who contested in the election, as the main opposition party, UML, decided to end the obstruction of parliament and did not register its candidate for the election. Deba managed to secure 388 votes in the 593-strong parliament in order to prove his majority. Moving on, the President of the United States has called up King Salman on the Qatar crisis. US President Donald Trump spoke to Saudi Arabia's King Salman and called for a united Gulf Cooperation Council to fight terrorism and promote stability in the region. Both leaders discussed ways to prevent terror financing and eliminate extremism by any country in the region. During the phone call, Donald Trump underscored that a united Gulf Cooperation Council is critical to defeating terrorism and promoting regional stability. US chief warns of serious clean water shortages by the year 2050. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has warned that by 2050, global demand for fresh water is projected to grow by more than 40%, and at least a quarter of the world's population will live in countries with a chronic or a recurrent lack of clean water. Strains on water accesses are already rising in all the regions. The Australian economy has tied the world record for the longest continuous expansion. Australia's economy shrugged off a cyclone-powered bad weather hit to exports and home building in the first quarter. Australia posted just enough growth to claim nearly 26 years without recession, equaling Netherlands' 103-quarter period record. Australia hasn't seen a recession since 1991, and its run of growth has been the envy of other rich nations. The next item is that the world's first hybrid aeroboat has been unveiled. The world's first hybrid aeroboat, which has been built by an Indo-Russian joint venture, has been unveiled at a startup event organized by Russia's state-run Slokova Foundation. The aeroboat is capable of traveling on land, water, snow, and sand. The aeroboats can handle steep slopes and embankments without the requirement of marine infrastructure such as jetties. In a proud news for the Indian community, an Indian American has been chosen amongst the 12 new astronauts by NASA. NASA has chosen 12 new astronauts, including an Indian American, from a record number of over 18,000 applicants who will be trained for missions into Earth orbit and to deep space. Indo-American Lieutenant Colonel Raja Girinderchari is the commander of the 461st Flight Test Squadron and the director of the F-35 Integrated Test Force at the Edwards Air Force Base in California. The new candidates include 6 new military officials, 3 scientists, 2 medical doctors, a lead engineer at SpaceX, and a NASA research pilot. North Korea is continuing to build up tensions along its borders with South Korea. North Korea has launched multiple surface-to-ship missiles. North Korea fired multiple unidentified projectiles assumed to be surface-to-ship missiles from the vicinity of Wonsan or of the Gangwon province in North Korea. It will be the 4th missile test by the nuclear-armed regime in less than 5 weeks as Pyongyang continues to defy the warnings by the United Nations and the world community in general. A $1 million fund has been established for the BRICS media. The Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, or the BRICS group, has established a $1 million fund for boosting media cooperation in the 5-nation grouping. The BRICS Media Forum is a joint initiative of the Xinhua News Agency, Brazil's CMA Group, Russia's Sputnik News Agency and Radio, the Hindu Group of Publications from India, and the South Africa's Independent Media. BRICS Media is aimed at promoting 6 objectives, including balanced reporting. The United Kingdom has elected its first female Sikh and first turban-wearing Sikh as members of Parliament. In a first of its kind, Preet Kaur Gill became the first Sikh to be elected to the British Parliament House of Commons. Similarly, Tanman Singh Desi has become the first turban-wearing Sikh to be elected to the House of Commons. In a first, the House of Commons will have a record 12 Indian origin members of Parliament, which will be more than the present record of 10, 5 each from the Labour and Conservative parties. In Britain, in the elections held on the 8th of June, no party has got a majority in the parliamentary elections. British Prime Minister Theresa May has said that she will put together a government with the support of the Democratic Unionists that can provide certainty for the future. This comes in the wake of the Conservative Party losing its majority in a snap general election that has resulted in a hung parliament. The Tories needed 326 votes to win a majority, but with 649 out of the 650 seats declared, they fell short and must rely on their Democratic Union Party to continue the rule. Moving on, India has moved the World Trade Organization against the United States. India has moved the WTO against the United States as it has not yet complied with the rulings of the WTO pertaining to the imposition of high import duty on certain Indian steel products. WTO's appellate body pronounced a ruling against the Act of US, which is imposing high import duty on certain steel products. It has ruled that the imposition of the import duty on steel products was inconsistent with the various provisions of the agreement on subsidies and countervailing measures. India has asked the Gulf nations to solve their differences with Qatar through dialogue. India has said that it's closely following the situation in the Gulf region in the wake of the decision by Saudi Arabia and some other countries to break diplomatic ties with Qatar. India is of the view that all parties should resolve their differences through dialogue and peaceful negotiations based on mutual respect and non-interference in the internal affairs of other countries. India believes that the peace and security in the Gulf are of paramount importance for the continued progress and prosperity of the region. The next item of the news on international segment, the US and Russia have called for dialogue over the Qatar GCC dispute. The US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov have called for dialogue over the Qatar GCC dispute. The statement said that Lavrov and Tillerson pointed out to the need of resolving disagreements through negotiations and expressed their willingness to contribute to such efforts. Lavrov said Russia was ready to do everything in its power to help resolve the Gulf crisis. The military chief has said that the IS military group has intruded into all the Indonesian provinces. The Islamic State militant group has a presence in nearly all the provinces across Indonesia, the world's largest Muslim majority community, its military chief has said. The clandestine sleeper cells across the sprawling Indonesian archipelago has underscored concerns about Islam's growing influence in the Southeast Asia. In a rather sad development, there has been a massive fire in a 27-story apartment in West London. In Britain, several people have died after a huge fire which engulfed a 24-story block of flats in central London early on the 14th of June 2017. There have been a number of fatalities and the number cannot be confirmed at this time due to the size and complexity of the building. 200 firefighters are battling the blaze and evaluating residents from the building. It is to be noted that the building is in an upmarket area of London. The World Bank has approved an over $500 million credit for Afghanistan. The World Bank has approved a financing worth more than $500 million for Afghanistan to support a string of projects to boost the economy. The bank has said that the international troop withdrawal, which began in 2011, and political uncertainties have impacted the Afghanistan's economy. The largest chunk of the package, some $205 million, will go towards supporting communities affected by the refugees returning from Pakistan. In a significant move, the US Federal Reserve has increased the rate by 25 basis points. The Federal Reserve raised the interest rates on the 14th of June for the second time in 3 months. The reasons cited were continued US economic growth and job market strength, and announced that it would begin cutting off its holding of bonds and other securities this year. The decision lifted the US Central Bank's benchmark lending by a quarter percentage point to a target range of 1% to 1.25% as it proceeds with the first tightening cycle in more than a decade. Australia announces the online visa applications for Indians from the 1st of July 2001. The Australian government has announced that the Indian nationals can apply for a visitor online from the 1st of July 2017. The online application option will make applying for the country's visitor visas easier and enhance the experience for the Indians. Online lodgement for visa applications is a significant enhancement that will benefit the Indian national applicants visiting to seek Australia. The Afghanistan president has inaugurated the first Afghanistan-India air corridor. Afghanistan President Ashraf Ghani has inaugurated the first India-Afghanistan air corridor at the Kabul International Airport on the 19th of June 2017. The corridor is a direct route that will bypass Pakistan and is meant to improve the commerce in Afghanistan. Afghanistan is a mountainous, landlocked country, and all imports and exports depend on the neighboring countries. China has unveiled the world's first train that runs on virtual tracks. China has unveiled the world's first train that runs on a virtual track, making use of sensor technology instead of metal rails. The new trains are non-polluting as they are battery-powered. The train is capable of reaching a top speed of 70 kilometers per hour and can travel a distance of 25 kilometers by just charging for 10 minutes. The train, which is only about 32 meters long, can carry up to 307 passengers at a time. The King of Saudi Arabia has declared son Mohammed bin Salman as the crown prince. The King of Saudi Arabia on Wednesday declared his son Mohammed bin Salman as the crown prince, replacing his nephew Mohammed bin Naif through a royal decree which was approved by 31 of the 34 members of the Allegiance Council. The newly appointed 31-year-old crown prince will become the deputy prime minister while retaining his position as the defense minister. Mohammed bin Naif, 57-year-old, has been relieved of his current duties and has pledged allegiance to the newly appointed crown prince. That's all we have for you in the international news segment. We now move on to the next segment, which is on banking, economy and finance. The State Bank of India has made Aadhaar mandatory for all recruits from the 1st of July 2017. The State Bank of India proposes to introduce from 1st July 2017 a scheme for verifying the identity of candidates applying for all its recruitment processes through Aadhaar cards. While applying for the appointment, it will be mandatory to furnish the 12-digit Aadhaar number or the 28-digit Aadhaar enrollment ID in case the Aadhaar has been applied for but not received. The Aadhaar number will be used to match the biometric information taken through a biometric attendance system at the time of examination, interview or medical fitness test or reporting for joining. SBI's QIP issue opened as part of its efforts to raise 15,000 crores of rupees. State Bank of India on the 5th of June said it has opened qualified institutional placement issue of equity shares of rupees 1 each to qualified institutional buyers. This is part of the bank's plan to raise equity capital of up to rupees 15,000 crores during FY18. This capital raising program comes in the backdrop of public sector banks facing pressure to enhance the capital base to meet the Basel III regulatory capital stipulation norms and to make provisions for bad loans. Birla to launch a payments bank. The Aditya Birla Group plans to launch a payment bank through the newly formed Aditya Birla Financial Services once the merger of Aditya Birla Nuvo with the Grasim Industries is completed by the end of September quarter. The payment bank license will be transferred to the newly formed entity Aditya Birla Financial Services. The National Stock Exchange Global Trading Platform goes live at GIFT IFSC. The National Stock Exchange of India on Monday launched its international exchange NSE IFC at the Gujarat International Financial Service Centre or the IFSC at the GFIT city in Gandhinagar. The newly launched exchange kicked off trading in the popular index derivatives contracts on Nifty 50, Nifty Bank and the Nifty IT sectors. The exchange will offer derivatives contracts in gold and silver and currency derivatives on leading global currency pairs of Euro, USD and Great Britain Pound and USD. Vijaya Bank plans to develop 100 digital villages. Vijaya Bank has stated that it plans to develop as many as 100 digital villages in various states across the country as part of its initiative to promote digital banking amongst the rural population. At present, Vijaya Bank is the only public sector financial institution to develop digital villages with focus on the rural population. In the digital villages, the bank will offer internet, free Wi-Fi connectivity, mobile payment facilities, ATM cards, online banking, and will carry out a door-to-door campaign to educate the villagers. The IT department has announced new rules for capital gains tax exemption. According to the notification that follows the draft rules issued in April this year, the Central Board of Direct Taxes or the CBDT has specified transactions where payment of STT or the securities transaction tax would be mandatory to get benefit of exemption from capital gains tax. This notification shall come into force with effect from the 1st of April 2018 and shall accordingly apply to the assessment year 2018-19 and subsequent assessment year, said the CBDT. Acquisition of equity shares by venture capital or investment funds, employee stock options, foreign direct investments by non-residents continue to be exempt. In its latest monetary policy announced, the Reserve Bank of India has kept the repo rate unchanged at 6.25% in its second bi-monthly monetary policy review. The reverse repo rate has been kept unchanged at 6%. The RBI has, however, cut the statutory liquidity ratio or the SLR by 50 basis points to 20% from 20.5%. The SBI's QIP has been oversubscribed and demand tops 27,000 crore rupees. State Bank of India's qualified institutional placement offer for raising 15,000 crores was oversubscribed with demand exceeding 27,000 crores and the issue getting priced at 287.25 per share. Exceptionally strong demand of over 8,000 crores came from long-only foreign institutional investors. Overall, FII demand was in excess of 11,000 crores. India's foreign exchange reserves have reached a lifetime high of $381.167 billion US dollars. According to the Reserve Bank of India, India's foreign exchange of forex reserves have increased by $2.404 billion to touch a lifetime high of $381.167 billion in the week that ended on 2nd of June. The increase was due to the increase in foreign currency assets. The components of India's foreign exchange reserves include foreign currency assets, gold, special drawing rights, and RBI's reserve position with the International Monetary Fund. Aadhaar has been made a mandatory item for filing income tax returns and applying for PAN from the 1st of July 2017. Central Board of Direct Taxes CBDT has said that Aadhaar will be a must for filing income tax returns as well as for applying PAN with effect from the 1st of July 2017. Everyone who already has been allotted PAN and has an Aadhaar number or is eligible to obtain an Aadhaar number will intimate it to the income tax authorities for the purpose of linking PAN with Aadhaar. The Supreme Court has given partial relief to those who do not have Aadhaar. The foreign portfolio investors have poured in $1.8 billion in the last 7 trading sessions. Foreign investors infused $1.8 billion in the country's capital market in the last 7 trading sessions. This is due to the finalization of GST norms for most items and the forecast of a normal monsoon. Most of the funds were invested in debt markets by the foreign portfolio investors or the FPIs. The LIC, the country's famous life insurer, has set the record by settling 99.92% of its claims. The Life Insurance Corporation of India has pulled off a record claim performance by selling 99.92% of the death claims in 2016-17 as against the industry average of 95%. The insurance behemoth is keen to push the boundary further, looking to settle 99% claims on a monthly basis too in future. LIC has had nearly 11 lakh such cases outstanding and expects that each and every case needs to be followed up to its logical end. The retail inflation has fallen to an all-time low of 2.1% in May 2017. Retail inflation fell to an all-time low of 2.18% in May this year. Inflation fell as the prices of kitchen staples like vegetables and pulses declined sharply. Consumer price-based inflation or retail inflation had stood at 2.99% in April this year and at 5.76% in May last year. Overall food inflation stood at minus 1.05% in May, meaning that overall food prices have declined. The IRDAI has taken over the management of Sahara Life Insurance. The Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, IRDAI, has taken over the administration of the Sahara India Life Insurance, a first of its kind move in the insurance sector. It has named R.K. Sharma, General Manager IRDAI, as an administrator to manage the affairs of the insurer. The IRDAI has reasons to believe that Sahara Life Insurance Company is acting in a manner likely to be prejudicial to the interests of the holders of the life insurance policies, and hence this move has been announced. The Reserve Bank of India is to put new 500 rupee bank notes in circulation. The Reserve Bank of India will soon put into circulation a new batch of 500 rupee notes in the Mahatma Gandhi new series printed in 2017. RBI said in a statement today that the new batch of banknotes will bear the signature of the RBI Governor, Dr. Urjit R. Patel. Design-wise, these notes will be similar to the existing 500 rupee banknotes in the Mahatma Gandhi new series. SEBI has allowed trading in commodity futures. SEBI has allowed options trading in commodities futures to deepen the market, but will permit each exchange to launch options on futures of only one commodity initially. It has asked the bourses to follow the robust risk management procedures. SEBI said options could be launched on futures contract of only those commodities that are amongst the top 5 in terms of total trading turnover value of the previous 12 months. In a landmark move, the RBI has announced that the insolvency framework soon will be announced for bankers and insurers. After putting in place for a legal framework to resolve insolvency in the non-financial entities, the Centre has moved a step closer towards creating a similar apparatus for specified financial sector bodies such as banks and insurance companies. The Cabinet on the 14th of June 2017 gave its nod for the introduction of the Financial Resolution and Deposit Insurance Bill 2017 FRDI in Parliament. It will create a framework to deal with bankruptcy in banks, insurance companies and financial sector entities. Once enacted, it will also lead to the establishment of a resolution corporation, which will mean that the disbanding of the present-day Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation of India. 20 Indian companies in the top 100 firms in Asia 300. As many as 20 Indian firms have been named in the latest list of top 100 companies in the Nikkei's Asian Review's Asia 300. According to Nikkei Asian Review's second annual Asia 300 Performance Power Ranking, 3 Indian companies have made it to the top 10 list. Taiwan's Lagan Precision, the world's leading maker of lenses for smartphone cameras, tops the list. Indian service provider HCL Technologies came in at second place, followed by Z Entertainment Enterprises and Tata Consultancy Services at the third and fourth place, respectively. The Asian Infrastructure Bank, or the AIIB, has approved a $150 million equity investment loan to the India Infrastructure Fund. This loan will be the first bank's equity investment to fund private projects. The $150 million fund would go to the India Infrastructure Fund. The Infrastructure Fund aims to invest in the mid-cap infrastructure companies in India. Moving on, the national state-run oil companies The Indian Oil Corporation, the Bharat Petroleum Corporation and the Hindustan Petroleum Corporation has signed an agreement to jointly set up the world's largest refinery and petrochemical complex in Ratnagiri district of Maharashtra. The Indian Oil Corporation will hold 50% stake, and the HPCL and the BPCL will each hold a stake of 25% in the new complex. The refinery is expected to be set up at an estimated cost of 3 lakh crore rupees. The new complex is estimated to be completed by the year 2022. The Union Cabinet has approved the proposal for Financial Resolution and Deposit Insurance Bill 2017. This will provide a comprehensive resolution for framework of the financial sector entities to deal with bankruptcy situation in banks, insurance companies and other entities. The bill will pave for the establishment of the Resolution Corporation. The Resolution Corporation will be mandated to protect the stability and resilience of the financial system, protecting the public funds, protecting the consumers of covered obligations up to a reasonable limit. According to the RBI, India's current account deficit has narrowed in the year 2016-17 owing to a contraction in the country's trade deficit. The CAD for the last fiscal narrowed down to 0.7% of the GDP from that of 1.1% in 2015-16 due to contraction in the trade deficit. Country's trade deficit narrowed down to $112.4 billion in 2016-17 from $130.1 billion in 2015-16. The Finance Minister has asked the public sector banks to explore acquisition of smaller banks. The Finance Ministry has asked 4 large PSU lenders to explore opportunities for acquisition of small and medium-sized banks with a goal to create global-sized lenders. One of the possibilities is that large public sector banks like Punjab National Bank, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank and Bank of India could try looking for potential candidates for acquisition. So informally, the Finance Ministry has sounded them that they should study the possibility for mergers and acquisitions so as to acquire the scale and size of the country's largest lender, State Bank of India. The Tata Group and Lockheed Martin signed deal to manufacture F-16 fighter jets in India. The Tata Group and American aerospace giant Lockheed Martin have signed an unprecedented deal to produce, operate and export the combat-proven F-16 fighters in India. According to PTI, under the deal signed on the 19th of June 2017, Lockheed will shift its Fort Worth, Texas plant to India without directly affecting the American jobs, a campaign pledge of Trump, who has vowed to put America first. This is an unprecedented, historic deal. That's all we have news for you in the banking and economy segment. We now move on to the other current affairs. The Israeli author David Grossman has won the Man Booker International Prize. Israeli author David Grossman has won the Man Booker International Prize for his novel A Horse Walks into a Bar. David Grossman has become the first Israeli author to win the prize. He will share the £50,000 or approximately $64,000 award money with his translator Jessica Cohen. David Grossman's 1986 novel Sea Under Love is hailed as a masterpiece of his work, which revolved around the Holocaust and the generation of Jews that followed. Neeru Chadha is the first Indian woman to be elected to the International Tribunal for Law of the Seas. Law expert Neeru Chadha has been elected to the International Tribunal for the Law of the Seas, or the ITLOS. With this election, she has become the first Indian woman to win a crucial election to a top UN judicial body that deals with disputes related to the law of the sea. ITLOS comprises of 21 independent members who are elected based upon their reputation for being a person with integrity. Justice P.N. Bhagwati passed away. Former Chief Justice of India, Prafulla Chandra Natwarlal Bhagwati, who is considered a pioneer of judicial activism, has passed away. He was 95 years old. Justice Bhagwati introduced the concepts of public interest litigation and absolute liability to the Indian judicial system. He made the famous ruling that there was no need for a person to have any local standing to approach the court on the issue of fundamental rights. May his soul rest in peace. The day of June 17th was observed as the World Day to combat desertification and drought. The World Day to combat desertification and drought is observed every year on the June 17th to promote public awareness to combat desertification. The United Nations General Assembly has designated June 17th as the World Day to combat desertification and drought in 1994. The day is observed globally to promote public awareness on the issue and the implementation of the United Nations Convention on combat desertification in those countries experiencing serious desertification or drought. We now move on to the next segment, or the fifth segment in our current affairs for this period between the 5th of June and the 22nd of June 2017, and this is on science and technology. The NASA has declared that May 2017 was the second hottest month in 137 years, and we in India are well aware of how hot May was. According to NASA, May 2017 was the second hottest month in a span of 137 years when the modern record keeping of average global temperatures had commenced. The temperature of May 2017 was 0.88 degrees Celsius warmer than the mean May temperature from 1951 to 1980. May 2016 is the hottest on record with 0.93 Celsius warmer than the May mean temperature. Moving on to the last item of this current affairs live session, we have the news from the sports field. The first news is that India has bagged 5 medals, including a gold in the Asian Junior Wrestling Championships. India has bagged 5 golds, including a gold in the Asian Junior Championships in Taiwan. Indian female wrestlers pocketed 3 medals, while 2 came in the male Greco-Roman division. India's gold came in the 51 kg women's freestyle category through Pooja. India's Kidambi Srikanth has lifted the Indonesian Open Series badminton title by defeating Japanese qualifier Kazuma Sakai in straight games 21-11, 21-19 in the men's single final held in Jakarta on the 18th of June 2017. For world number 22 Srikanth, it is his third Super Series title after he had won the 2014 China Open and 2015 India Open. President Pranab Mukherjee and Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Kidambi Srikanth on winning the Indonesia Open Series tournament. In an unexpected development, Pakistan has lifted their maiden Champions Trophy in cricket by beating arch rivals India in the finals. Pakistan have won their maiden Champions Trophy cricket title by defending champions and arch rivals India by a huge margin of 180 runs in the final in London, played on the 18th of June 2017. Set to score 339 runs for a win, India folded up for 158 in just 30.3 overs. Pakistan Fakhar Zaman and Hassan Ali were adjudged the man of the match and the man of the tournament, respectively. The ICC has ruled that there will be no ICC World T20 in the 2018. The next edition will be in 2020. The World 2020 Championship 7th edition next year is all set to be scrapped and pushed to 2020. ICC sources told that the primary reason for the postponement is that there are too many bilateral series happening between the member nations. Hence, it is not possible to schedule the tournament in 2018. However, the venue is yet to be decided. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for the time spent and thanks for the patient watching. I hope you enjoyed this live current session in as much as I enjoyed presenting it to you all. Until I see you in the next week's weekly current affairs video session, it's bye from me for now. Thanks for watching.